Hey, what's up everybody? This is Roberto Enamorado, aka RobertoInLove. Wanted to share with you that I recently quit my 9 to 5, or what I like to call my occasional 8 to 8, because that's often, especially when it comes to, office work, I think you're signing up for 9 to 5, but it's more like an 8 to 8. And then you take your work with you and your thoughts at home, weekends. Anyway, it is what it is. So, quit my job, and for all those who are on the fence about doing so, some things that I did. Now, I'm super baby faced. Like, this is not a recommendation from somebody who's really excelled from that point. I'm just really at the very beginning of that, and the circumstances for me to be forward are not ideal, but they're not the worst either. So, number one, if you are considering doing that, consider what your expenses are and how much they are. So my expenses personally, they're not that high, so I can take those risks. Also, I don't have children. That's huge. Apart from my expenses, my rental expenses specifically are pretty low. And I do have some support as far as food and a lot of those other expenses. So it's not bad. And, I live in a great environment. So I say that because I know a lot of times you feel like just throwing in a towel, or not necessarily throwing in a towel, but moving forward with other projects, and really just taking into account your own personal sense of fulfillment or happiness or whatever it is, which that in itself I feel fluctuates. But for me, what drove me to that point was, number one, some friction at work. So I started putting some money aside, and then one day in particular, I was going to go see somebody very close to me, and I was working late that day. Spent the weekend with this person, and I was just so exhausted the whole time, and so I didn't really get to enjoy my time during the break, during the weekend. I came back, went back into work, and I was just like, what am I doing? Professionally, and on a personal level, I got what I wanted from the job, and it seemed from a black and white point of view like things were going to go in a direction, basically everything that I asked for. But it's interesting because you got to be careful what you wish for, because essentially, yes, I did get in black and white what I asked for, but the way things played out, again, I was to a point where I was very frustrated, and I did not want to let out my frustration, my anger, out on other people, and so I decided, you know what, I need to take a break, ease up, recalibrate, take some time, and really see what the next step is going to be for me on a personal and professional level, and see how I can combine those things, because ideally what I'm looking to do is make money off of the things that I enjoy. It's not to say that, I'm just going to hang out at the beach and make money off of that. Not to say that you can't, but for me, working in the community, working on art, public speaking, just interacting with people overall, from an aesthetic standpoint, from a conversational standpoint, it's all about relationships, and even to the point where something maybe even esoteric when it comes to artistic expression, and how to combine all that really is what kind of like my long-term goal is. How do I change the world's perspective on how they view reality and how they can change it? And so that's where I am now. Right now, I'm in baby stages as to, okay, a lot of work that's been put into the community, a lot of work that I put in on myself as far as artistic expression, getting it out to the world is going to be the next phase. This is where I am now. And how do I sustain myself in the meantime until I get there? So, long story short, yes, there's a lot of anxiety in this. Just to share with you, if you don't know already, I deal with anxiety myself. Anxiety is it's a very weird thing to feel like, you're about to get hit by a bus and you're just chilling somewhere. Like, what's up with that? There is no immediate danger. And also for myself, I've been through a lot physically. I'm also very sporty. I used to be into martial arts. I know what it's like to get hit, be hit, fall, bleed, like all types of stuff, and not panic in those situations. And so years later, to feel anxiety and all these things at the level that I have, it's very bizarre. So with that, the most important asset, I would say the most valuable asset, apart from, just standard, bodily functions, your heart, your lungs, and all that, but your mind, your mental state. Because for me, that was a difference between being able to communicate articulately, being able to speak. I mean, my brain was turning into mush at some point. I wasn't able to write properly, speak properly, think properly, bathe properly. My brain was just totally, I'm talking about the deep end. I've been there. And so you have to gauge yourself and what your limits are. Often a lot of A-type personalities keep on pushing and can keep pushing even to the point where their bodies are breaking apart or falling apart in some regard. And so I'm one of those people that I have to gauge myself and say, okay, even though you can keep going and you can, be wise, be good to your body. Yes, build, grow, toughen up, and that's good. But also be real. Gauge where you are, and if you're feeling pretty shitty a lot of the time, consider the relationship that you have with yourself or with your partners or with your business, your work. That's really the most important thing, is your relationships, how they're going. So my relationship with work didn't seem like it was going in the right direction, and so I left. And I left on a good note with, I would say, 98% of the people that I interacted with there. So I'm happy about that. The relationships to me are fundamental, number one. So yeah, and so I'm also learning to have a better relationship with myself. I think that's a lifelong journey. And so here I am, taking a break, taking a breather, so I can do so. And so for all those who are considering quitting your job or feeling frustrated, really just take into account your economic assessments, but also your economic expenses, but also assess yourself and see if realistically that's a good thing, because, you don't want to end up in a terrible situation. I'm not to say that I won't. You never know. Things can always happen. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I do accept the fact that it may happen. So, going forward, my recommendations as well, do the same for yourself. So sharing. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time around. Also, check out my website, RobertoInLove.com. Speaking about artwork, I have a piece there called The Difference Between Respect and Fear, and there'll be more to come. All right, that's it. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.